The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton is brought to you by Dubby. What is Dubby? Dubby is a clean energy drink that is made to give you focus with no crash, jitters, or angst like those other energy drinks have. They also have no maltodextrin fillers and don't use artificial dyes. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. W's products are made in the USA in an FDA inspected facility that strictly adheres to GMP manufacturing guidelines. All of the flavors are unique and custom made by W, and you'll never taste our taste anywhere else. The best part about it is they're affordable. W's drinks come out to about $1 per drink, much cheaper than Starbucks or any of those canned energy drinks. To learn more, visit w.gg.com/discount/MRTipton33 and place your order today. Use promo code MrTipton33 and save today. W Energy, be better. What's going on, everybody? I want to tell you about my new friends over at Cleverman. Visit them online at becleverman.com. What they gave me was the energizing face and beard scrub along with the Cleverman face scrubber. And trust me when I say this, the energizing face and beard scrub smells amazing. Combining it with the face scrubber, making sure that your boy was looking as good and sexy as possible, opened up a whole different sensation in my face that I haven't ever felt before. I felt so clean, so fresh, and so clean, like Outcast said, and it helped me feel like I was ready for my day. Make sure you visit them online at becleverman.com and follow them on Instagram at clevermannyc. The link is up in my bio if you want to check out all the amazing products they have. Visit them online, becleverman.com. It is the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. We're hanging out with you here on a Thursday morning. I think it's Thursday. Once again, time construct made up by man. It doesn't truly exist. Either way, we are live right now on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, and of course on Roku with our friends over at National Streaming Sports. Check out all they have to offer over on National Streaming Sports. I was a part of the professional sports show that we had yesterday. It was a good, fun time. Check out Keith Engel and what he's got with TGI Sports. It follows on Wednesdays as well. Of course, Sonia Pearson with Prim and Proper Sports. Her and James Martin are on that show. And then Coast to Coast with Bo Crouch over on National Streaming Sports. We're going to be trying to do a lot more with them. Let's help grow this brand, their brand, all the platforms together in a nice, beautiful, symbiotic relationship. Of course, we are brought to you by our friends over at W Energy, W.GG. Use promo code MrTipton33. Save up to 10% on all of your energy drink needs. You don't have to worry about the jitters and all that nastiness that comes along with it. W Energy, clean, natural energy. It's the only way that I'm up this early with all this energy. Well, that and cocaine are the only reasons why I'm up this early with all this energy. Check them out, W.GG. Use promo code MrTipton33. I got through it without laughing. I almost laughed after I made that one remark because I sit back and I think to myself what other people who don't know me must think whenever they witness this for the first time, or you're just getting used to this, right? Again, 8 o'clock in the morning. I should not be feeling the way that I feel right now. And part of the reason why I feel the way that I do right now is I was just so happy right now watching ESPN where they were talking about teams. Are they better? Are they worse? Or are they the same as they were yesterday? As my guy Tommy Canazza tunes in and says, "What's up, Tip? Good morning, Tip. Good morning to you, Tommy. Good morning to everyone that's in the various chats all over the place. You want to be a part of the conversation. If you're on Roku, you want to be a part of the conversation. Facebook, The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, and, of course, Tipton Sports Broadcasting Network, and then on YouTube as well. with actually, damn, I should have gone live on Instagram today. Anyway, we'll worry about that. I got to get more in the habit of making sure I do live on Instagram. But you want to be a part of the conversation, join us over on the various networks, YouTube, Facebook, etc. Now, I was watching First Take, and they're talking about teams. Are they the same? Are they better? Or are they worse? And they said the Kansas City Chiefs, they made these moves. Are they the same? Are they the better? Or are they worse? And everyone's like, oh, they're kind of the same. Then they talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They made these moves. Are they the same? Are they the better? Or are they worse? And they're like, hey, you know what? They're a little better. DK Metcalf, George Pickens. It depends on what they're going to do at quarterback. We spoke about that yesterday. What are they going to do with Aaron Rodgers? Do they give Aaron Rodgers the 6-week sabbatical that he's asking to have to figure out what he's going to do with them? I love the thought of the soap opera being the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then they brought up a team that if it wasn't for them being around and being as hoarded as they are, I think my mind would have blown up with the Philadelphia Eagles winning themselves a Super Bowl. And it was the San Francisco 49ers. The mass exodus of talent from the San Francisco 49ers. Are they the same? Are they better? Or are they worse? And I have to say unequivocally, without a doubt, the San Francisco 49ers are worse. They are going to be bad, right? Like just letting everyone go. And then now there's the rumors out there that there might be the possibility of the San Francisco 49ers trading Christian McCaffrey away. Would you trade away Christian McCaffrey from San Francisco just because you don't know what type of value you're going to get out of him? Is he going to be able to play? Is he going to be happy? If I'm the San Francisco 49ers, I'm trading away Christian McCaffrey to the Dallas Cowboys for a 7th round pick in the 2048 NFL draft. There's a good reason why I'm not a GM in the NFL is because of my mindset like that. If you're San Francisco, you've already basically shown your fans, we're in rebuild mode. We're not going to be doing this anymore. It's time for us to just move it on, move it along. We're not going to be doing any of this. And it makes me so happy because I hear so often from these just insane San Francisco 49ers fans of, oh, they've been much more successful than the Dallas Cowboys and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just elated at the fact that this team is still going to have a longer Super Bowl drought than the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to have much less success than the Dallas Cowboys. They have had, because they've had the number 1 overall pick multiple times with the worst record in the NFL, something the Cowboys haven't had in this 30 years of ineptitude. The San Francisco 49ers, welcome back to your current hell. You thought you had a chance, didn't you? You thought, oh, we're that close. All we got to do, and I drank the Kool-Aid too. I was like, hey, they bring this team back. They run it back. There's a real possibility here that they can be an okay team. All the moves the San Francisco 49ers have done is them just giving up on the season. Sure, we got Brandon Ayuk. Sure, we got Brock Purdy. We're going to have to wind up paying him a whole lot of money, which he's not going to really deserve or earn. Welcome back to your hell. You thought you were there. You thought maybe I've done enough. Maybe I have been repentant enough in my sins that the Lord is going to shine his light down upon me and I can make my way back up there. The lasting legacy of the Kyle Shanahan era to me is that you were that close to winning a Super Bowl, right? One of my favorite movies, The Great Gatsby. One of my favorite books, The Great Gatsby. And as the book comes to an end, you see Gatsby reaching out towards the green light. The spirit, the ghost of Gatsby reaching out to that green light, the last vestiges of any type of hope that he might have had fading away. He's right there, reaching out. I can get you. I've got you. But just can't get it. The San Francisco 49ers losing in the Super Bowl, the death by 1,000 cuts as Patrick Mahomes slowly, methodically, like a surgeon, went through that defense like a hot knife through butter, about to butter up a tortilla because I'm a big ass fat guy and I love eating food with a lot of butter on it. Put some bacon on it while we're at it. And Patrick Mahomes is just slowly marching the Kansas City Chiefs down the field and eating each small bite of the San Francisco 49ers soul as he finally just devours them. That's the closest you got in 30 years. You already know my mindset. I'd rather go 0-17 than lose in damn overtime of the Super Bowl. I cannot think of a worse time and place to lose. Hell, even Kansas City, the way they lost in the Super Bowl. Losing in the Super Bowl doesn't mean shit. And I know I can say that because I heard other people say it on national streaming sports. Look at me, tiptoeing the line. You give me a line, I know exactly how to walk it, baby. I look at the San Francisco 49ers. I see their dejected fan base. My guy Luis, one of my friends on TikTok, we've become friends in reality, ran into me at the mall, was like, oh my God, Tip, it's you. And I was like, don't talk to me like that because I'm not someone that you should be excited to see. I'm just some random ass dude, and I'm about to make fun of your team. Putting up pictures. The San Francisco 49ers have traded away this player. The San Francisco 49ers have released this player. The San Francisco 49ers haven't done jack squat in free agency. The San Francisco 49ers are trading away their fans. And it makes me so gosh darn happy to see that this team in particular, with their fan base that for whatever reason doesn't get as anointed, as annoying as the Dallas Cowboys fan base is, despite the fact that, yeah, their ineptitude slightly longer than the Dallas Cowboys. Welcome back, San Francisco. Welcome back. It's hell. And I'm so glad that you are right here beside me, that we get to ride this roller coaster straight down into the molten core of the earth together, side by side, with my arm wrapped around you like I was Luke Combs singing Fast Car. I remember when. Thank you, San Francisco. I hope that you got to see how it feels to have your soul ripped out. And it makes me so damn happy. Jesus Christ, I woke up this morning in a good mood, and I sound like a hater, but this is me in a fantastic mood as I take a vigorous gulp from my gigantic mug of coffee in victory, a victorious swig of my drink. I assure you there are copious amounts of bourbon in that drink. There's not. There really isn't, guys. I think I need to lean in to the whole everyone thinks I'm an alcoholic. I think I just need to lean into that. Yesterday, while we were on the national streaming or the National Professional Sports Show on National Streaming Sports, we were talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Tommy Cananta opened up my eyes to some things that the Dallas Cowboys have been doing along with trades and free agency. The Dallas Cowboys acquired linebacker Kenneth Murray Jr. and a 7th-round pick from the Tennessee Titans for a 6th-round pick, according to a source, while earlier agreeing on a deal with Kaiir Elam, a 6th-round pick from the Buffalo Bills, for a 5th-round pick this year and a 7th-rounder in 2026. Now, the Dallas Cowboys linebacking core has been bad. I feel like a lot of linebacking cores in the NFL have been just terrible, or not great. Linebackers, for whatever reason, in the last 5 years or so, especially the middle linebacking core, doesn't seem to be a position of real want. Like maybe you got Fred Warner out there, but then like who's another real big middle linebacker or linebacking core that doesn't rush the quarterback? That's not like one of those flex kind of outside linebackers slash defensive end like a Micah Parsons, right? Like that's kind of how the linebacking position has evolved over the last couple of years, because you got to get pressure on the quarterback, right? Middle linebacker, maybe you bring him on a blitz once in a while. Doesn't happen very often in today's NFL. To see the Cowboys able to get a player, Kenneth Murray Jr., along with a pick, when the guy had almost 100 tackles, is kind of wild to me, right? Like he had 57 solo tackles, fine. Forced fumble, interception, 3 sacks from the middle linebacker position. That's a huge production from him. But to only trade a 6th round pick and then get a 7th round pick back for him makes me wonder what's going on here, because the guy's only going to be, this is going to be his 5th year in the NFL. Sure, he's bounced around team to teams, all that type of stuff. Best season came in 2023. He had 107 tackles, right? Bad teams don't get a lot of, like, whenever you're a bad team, like what Tennessee is, right? You get a lot more tackles from the secondary than what you do in the linebacking and the front line, right? Because the front line is getting dominated. Your linebackers are going to wind up getting dominated. The fact that the man almost had 100 tackles, combined tackles, really puts into perspective just how we have devalued linebackers in the NFL as of recently, right? It's crazy to me because all he's going to do is make $5.9 million for the Cowboys. I see a lot of upside in this trade. I really do see a lot of upside in this trade. And I'm sorry about that. I said 6th round pick, 5th round pick. A 5th round pick, you got 2 things from him, right? A 7th rounder, not too sure how I feel about getting a 7th round pick. And then, of course, Kenneth Murray Jr. I see a lot of upside in this, and I'm glad that the Dallas Cowboys are going this route because it's what they need to do. They need to shore up the defense, because that the interior of the defense for the Dallas Cowboys, outside of Micah Parsons, outside of Bland and Diggs whenever he's healthy, it just felt like there was a turnstile at that defense position, right? It didn't matter who it was. And now we're seeing, okay, we got Solomon Thomas. We're going to re-sign Odigizua. We're going to get some depth along the defensive line. Now we're going to get some depth in the linebacking core. This could be something that helps out the Dallas Cowboys. The biggest anchor to me when it comes to that team isn't going to be the talent on the defensive side. It isn't going to be the talent that's on the offensive side. As you know, the Cowboys are able to re-sign Kevontae Turpin, which is a huge re-signing for them. To me, what holds me back from being as happy as I can be, from really wanting to go all in with my emotions on this team, is knowing that Brian Schottenheimer is the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. That's the one thing that's stopping me from being like, you know what? Maybe, right? I'm going to bring up here all of what the Dallas Cowboys have done in free agency so that we can see. And that's what, Tommy, you're 100% right. They're adding depth, right? I'm not mad at it, but I think I'm the same way with you, right? Like, I like seeing depth. They need an impactful type player. Like it's without a shadow of a doubt, they need an impactful type player. And as I was going to bring it up, Tommy hits the nail right on the head, because that's what I was going to talk about. You look at the names that the Dallas Cowboys have done, right? Like, they re-signed Trent Sieg. Fine. I'm cool with that. Robert Jones, more than likely going to be just a depth guy along your offensive line. Peyton Turner, once again, a depth guy. Javonte Williams, adding more depth. Jack Sanborn, linebacker, adding more depth. Hufuanga, adding more depth at, like, your safety position. Or actually, no, sorry, that's with Denver. I knew that name didn't sound right to me. They haven't done anything, really. Anything, the Dallas Cowboys haven't. That makes you say, oh, wow, that's amazing, right? Like they've done, oh, okay. You know, like, that's whenever you go to a restaurant and you get a meal and you take a bite out of it, and you're like, oh, okay, it's all right, right? Like, it's not the best burger I've ever eaten in my life, right? Like, it's not amazing, but it's okay. It makes me feel good. I am being satiated in some sort of way. That's what it feels like the Dallas Cowboys are doing right now, right? Like it's just a little bit, maybe maybe the side that they bring out, maybe the dessert that they bring out is going to be the thing that gets everybody excited about what it is that they're doing. But as of right now, it's okay. Right? Like, it's not great, but it's okay. It's like drinking water. Okay, you know you got to drink some water. The Dallas Cowboys know they got to add depth. So what do? They drink some water. They add some depth. That's fine. Do you know what the hell I need right now? I need me some beer. I need me some whiskey. I need me some tequila. Shout out to the Jose Cuervo train. I need something, man. Something a little different. I need those empty calories that make me feel good about what it is that you're doing. Water's fine. I'll drink me some water. I have some water right over here. I'll drink me some water. But I want something else. I need something better. Dallas, you restructure deals. You're able to kind of manipulate your way in the salary cap to even get me, the most strident of, I don't believe in this team is going to do anything in the free agency period, right? Like, I've been on record saying that I didn't think they should restructure deals. They shouldn't sign anybody. But you restructure deals. You get rid of some pieces. And now you've got some money that you can spend. And all you're doing is spending it on water. Get yourself something. I know there's going to be someone out there that's like, Tip, the empty calories come in beer and sodas and all that other stuff. The water is what you really need. I get it. The depth is water. We need flavor to this. Open up a pack of Crystal Light, pour it in that sumbitch, and make me be happy about what it is that we're doing. But as of right now, with the Dallas Cowboys, I look at some of the names that have gone. Right? Like you have Najee Harris at $5.5 million, $5.2 million. You couldn't get in that game? Linda McGrath saying, good morning, Michael. Have a great show. Thank you, Linda. Shout out to you and Mac for all you're doing with National Streaming Sports. Always love whenever I get to be a part of the National Professional Sports Show. The Dallas Cowboys right now, the empty calories of the Dallas Cowboys right now are just, it's annoying to me because you couldn't have given just a couple mil, right? Like what you signed Javonte Williams to, a 1 year, what is it, $3 million deal? I gotta look into this. Where is it? Yeah, a 1 year, $3 million deal. You mean to tell me that you couldn't have gone up 1 point or 2.2 and gotten Najee Harris, right? I don't think there's an argument to be made here, right? Like, Najee Harris, much better than Javonte Williams. You go out, you get Solomon Thomas. You go out, you get Peyton Turner. You give them a total of $11 million. You couldn't have gone up 1.6 to get Joey Bosa, even if it's on a 1 year deal. You make those two signings, right? And your fan base is elated and they're given hope because you went out and you made a splashy deal. And I get it. Maybe you don't always need a splashy deal. You need some filler in there, right? You need the Robert Joneses and the Peyton Turners and like those names, the Jack Sanborns. You need those names. Tommy Cananza hitting it on the head right here. They opened free agency with $54 million. Now, after all these quote-unquote bottom-of-the-barrel signings, they still have $46 million. Dallas Cowboys. There we go. I'll look you in the eyes, taking off the glasses, looking you in the eyes, looking directly into the camera. Dallas Cowboys. You got $46 million left in salary cap in this offseason, and there's still a few free agents out there that you can get. Spend that shit. Spend it. You restructured the deals so you could spend that shit. Why are we not doing it? Got to put my glasses on to read the comments. This is how I know I'm getting old. Exactly. Would have loved Dre Greenlaw. 100%. Like, I'm looking at that. Dre Greenlaw going over to Denver. $35 million, an AAV of 11.6. The Dallas Cowboys couldn't have done that. Like genuinely, people are going to sit here and try to tell me the Dallas Cowboys couldn't have done that. And maybe, just maybe, and again, like I always feel like I'm the Jerry Jones apologist, and maybe I shouldn't be. But maybe, just maybe, it's the Jerry Jones effect, right? Jerry Jones is looked at as just a doddering old man. And I don't know. I don't think that's the case, but perception might be reality whenever it comes to the world of sports. Jerry Jones being looked at in this light, to me, signifies that that might be the reason why some teams, some players aren't willing to come to Dallas. This might be the proverbial tipping point for Jerry Jones. You have an A-plus facility. You have an A-plus fan base, right? Whenever you look at the grades that the NFL teams got a couple of weeks ago, and I think I actually have a picture of that somewhere here. Let me see if I can find it. I'll get to it here in a second. But the fact of the matter is that you had and still do have a huge fan base that absolutely loves everything about the Dallas Cowboys. But for whatever reason, you're unable to sign players. And it makes me wonder what the hell is going on here with the Dallas Cowboys. Is it the Jerry Jones thing? There you go. You had the player report cards that came out not too long ago, right? And you look at, I got to bring it up on my screen here. Maybe I just make it a little bit larger so that way I can see, right? You look at where Dallas is. They're number 10. They're not bottom of the barrel. They're not, top. They're A team, B plus, B minus, A minus on a couple of things like that. But you look at it, right? It's, what's the thing you got here? You got an A coach, which is going back to last year, right? Mike McCarthy probably shouldn't have gotten rid of him the way that it happened. A B owner, because Jerry Jones is willing to go out there and do some things. B plus as far as food goes. Maybe you need more than barbecue in the locker room in Dallas, right? A B minus travel, which that one I don't get. Are you complaining about having to travel out of Dallas Love Field or DFW? That's not a Cowboys thing. That's DFW is just a nightmare. Every flight that I've had recently that connects in DFW has either been canceled or postponed long enough to make me say, I'm not going to fly out of DFW. A minus on the weight room, and then an A on the treatment of family, right? Is it really the Jerry Jones effect of maybe the game has kind of passed him by? Maybe the things that you hear out there all the time, all the little words that you hear from the pundits like the Stephen A. Smiths and the people like that are always talking negatively about the Dallas Cowboys. Is that the thing that kind of drives players away? Because to me, they're not a badly ran franchise. But do you want to play with the owner, right? And I feel like we're starting to go this way because we've seen it in the NFL before. We've seen it in the NBA. Where when the issue is Dan Snyder, players don't want to go play for Dan Snyder. When the issue was Donald Sterling, they don't want to go play for Donald Sterling. I'm not saying Jerry Jones is cut from that same cloth, but I am saying Jerry Jones is looked at as a middling owner, right? Like he's always going to go down to the sideline. He's always going to be the guy that's in the spotlight, partly because he's the president and GM of the team. Is that what drives players away? Why are the Dallas Cowboys the most valuable franchise in sports? Why are they not in the conversation to sign the Joey Bosa's, the Dre Greenlaws, the Najee Harrises? Why was there no tie for the Dallas Cowboys there? Because whenever you look at valuable franchises in all sports, whenever there's a big name free agent, doesn't matter how true it is, that team is always linked to that free agent, right? A new free agent hits the market this year like Juan Soto did in baseball. It was the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Red Sox, the Cubs, all these big name teams, historic teams that you hear that are always in the running. A big free agent hits the market in the NBA. It's going to be the Celtics, the Lakers, the Knicks that are always going to be a topic of the conversation when it comes to maybe the possibility of signing these free agents. Where is that with the Dallas Cowboys? How can Joey Bosa hit the market? How can Dre Greenlaw hit the market as a free agent? How can Najee Harris hit the market as a free agent? If you didn't want Sam Darnold, I get that. You don't need a quarterback, right? It goes off fit of team. But we're talking about defensive players and a running back. All positions that the Dallas Cowboys really could have needed and signed because they have the salary cap space to do so. I get it. You have the contract of Micah Parsons that's looming over you, and you've got to get that done this offseason. So maybe that's where you're saving a little bit of money. Micah Parsons wasn't going to get $46 million this season. Right? Like that to me is where the issue with the Dallas Cowboys starts to come from. Woosah. I got to get myself calmed down once again. Start feeling better about myself. The San Francisco 49ers are a crap show. Oh, I feel so much better now. Oh, man. Woo. That's going to be my mantra from now on. Anytime I'm starting to get upset with myself, I'll just be like, oh, no, the San Francisco 49ers, remember, they're a dumpster fire. And everything just feels better again. Sure, the Cowboys might be a turd sandwich, but they're not a soggy one. San Francisco, you're a soggy shit sandwich. Now I know what I'm cutting up for today's promo. So I'm looking at the list of players that the San Francisco 49ers have lost, right? You got Aaron Banks. We spoke about that going to Green Bay. Travarius Ward going over to Indianapolis. Indianapolis quietly making some moves. It's the Daniel Jones one that I don't get, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Hufawanga going over to Denver. Dre Greenlaw joining him in Denver as well. Jalen Moore, their left tackle, going over to Kansas City, which is huge for the Kansas City Chiefs. They lose Javon Hargrave going over to Minnesota. Malik Collins going over to Cleveland. Leonard Floyd going over to Atlanta. Josh Dobbs, no one really cares about that, but he's going over to New England. Elijah Mitchell going over to Kansas City as well. That's a lot of players to have lost in free agency. Not to mention, you just got rid of Kyle Juszczyk. It seems like this team is just starting to lose player after player. I don't know if the Debo thing is going to come back and bite you in the ass, but I could see it coming back and biting you in the ass because he's a guy that can fit in a bunch of different places. It just depends on what his mindset is going to be at that place. It really feels like the San Francisco 49ers have punted not on just this year, but next year, and are saying, look, we're entering full rebuild mode. We can't be spending the money that we've been spending in the past. And then you juxtapose that, and there you go, yeah. Tommy Canonsa saying Jonathan Allen, Joey Bosa, Darius Slade, Dre Greenlaw, Devontae Adams. They could have signed any two of these guys, and Tommy would have been happy. Those guys fill holes in positions of need. And then one of the things that bothered me as well was learning last night that Rico Dowdle is no longer going to be a Dallas Cowboy. And I said to myself, okay, I'm fine if you've got other guys out there, right? Like I liked Rico Dowdle. I thought that was going to be your running back of the future. I was all in on you re-sign Rico Dowdle. I thought they were going to re-sign him. I thought it was a closed deal. But to see that Rico Dowdle gets signed by the Carolina Panthers on a $6.25 million deal for 1 year, a 1 year $6.25 million deal. Again, now you need more than what you did before. Now you need a running back. You're adding into positions of need whenever I thought, okay, if there's anything that they're going to do, like Rico did enough to earn a contract with the Dallas Cowboys, how does he just walk away? And how do you just allow him to walk away? And then knowing that you're going to allow him to walk away, you don't go after Najee Harris, who you could have gotten for cheaper. Javonte Williams is now going to be the starting running back of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you know how asinine that sounds? So not only did you yeah, I guess you addressed some positions of need. You added depth, right? None of these guys that the Dallas Cowboys signed are we going to look at and be like, this is a guy, right? The Cowboys losing DeMarcus Lawrence, I'm okay with it, right? I love me some D-Law. I think that he might have just been a little over the hill. I think he'll have a great season in Seattle because he's going to be motivated to prove the haters wrong. And I think that that's a great fit for him. I would have liked to have seen Dallas find a way to keep him. Seattle going out there and giving him $42 million, 14 on AAV. I feel like Dallas could have found a way to work that out, right? Like maybe you get the home team discount, something like that. Tommy Kanata saying he's good with Rico leaving because it forces the Cowboys to address the running back position early in the draft. Had they signed him back, I don't think running back would have been a priority for him. And that's what it makes me think, right? Like, obviously, I feel like you're out on the Ashton Genty stuff. Like, there would have to be a lot of things to go wrong for Vegas not to draft Ashton Genty. So now you're forced to draft a running back more than likely in the second round. And I know based off of where the projections are, Tommy Kanata saying best of luck to D-Law. Deuces. He's out of there. Based on where the Cowboys are drafting right now, you have Travion Henderson, the running back out of Ohio State, who is projected to go to the Dallas Cowboys at that position, at the number 44 position. I'm looking to see. They must have moved him up because I could have swore that he was a second-round running back. Oh, wow, yeah, so they did move Omarion Hampton into the first round, being drafted at number 27 overall, and that is him going over to either the Baltimore Ravens or the Detroit Lions. I don't see either one of them really drafting a running back at that position. But if he's projected to be the number 27 pick, do you risk it if you're the Dallas Cowboys? Do you risk going up that high, reaching at number 12, when I feel like you could more than likely, draft offensive line help and then still get Travion Henderson in the second round, right? Like I'm okay with that. The Cricket Commish saying, be interesting if Jackson Smith and Najigma could take a step up without DK there full time. And I think that's where I know a lot of people, especially Seattle Seahawks fan, and thank you for joining the show, Cricket Commish. A lot of not Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow, why are they on my mind? I know why they're on my mind. I applied for a London game. Sorry. A lot of Seattle Seahawks fans are telling me, look, they still got there's a lot of talent there. But I feel like Jackson Smith and Najigba got a lot of his targets because you still had to worry about Tyler Lockett. Now, granted, Tyler Lockett wasn't near as good as what he had been in the past last year. And you had to worry about DK Metcalf. Those are two big weapons. And like obviously Noah Fant and like things like that, right? Like you had guys where it wasn't just JSN as like your only guy that you needed to target on the offensive side. Now he is. Now he can easily be double teamed. Like Seattle, let's see what they've done in free agency here. Because they've been, at least from what I've kind of understood, they've been kind of quiet when it comes to free agency in Seattle. So Seattle, Sam Darnold, DeMarcus Lawrence, and then this was the one. This is where I was thinking about them. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Hall of Fame name, great name. When you think about like great names that just roll off your tongue, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, great name. But he wasn't that effective with Aaron Rodgers in his prime. He wasn't that effective with Patrick Mahomes. Sam Darnold's not either one of them. You're not worried about MVS at all. Although I will say good on Seattle for now having just the 3-letter nicknames for people because you got JSN and then now MVS on your team, whoever's going to get it, right? I think that JSN has all of the talent to be able to step up. I just don't think that there's enough offensive weapons, and I don't know if I trust Sam Darnold enough, right? Like, I think Sam Darnold, Minnesota should have found a way to make it work because Sam Darnold with Minnesota with those weapons, you can tell he was clicking. And it was so hard when you got Jordan Addison, whenever you've got, all the weapons that they have in Minnesota. It's so hard to say this is the guy that we're going to shut down because someone else can eat, right? In Seattle, now it's going to be like, okay, we just key in on JSN. Good luck. You don't have the security blanket of Justin Jefferson anymore. You don't have Aaron Jones in the backfield anymore that you can drop the ball off to at any given time, right? Like, that's going to be the huge difference in Seattle. It feels like rebuild mode. I also wouldn't be surprised if we hear towards draft day that JSN is up for a trade, because I don't see how you build it this way. And like, I'm looking at the money that they spent, right? Let me bring this screen up again. $100 million to Sam Darnold, $42 million to DeMarcus Lawrence, $142 million to two guys. After you got rid of DK Metcalf, after you've gotten rid of, Geno Smith, that doesn't even seem like lateral moves. Like they're good moves. Like if you look at it on, just face value, they look like good moves. But to me, it feels like it could take a step back. And that's why I feel like the rebuild process, Seattle, San Francisco, Arizona, all haven't done enough. San Francisco's done enough to just say that they're going to be the worst team in the division by far. Haven't done enough. And it feels like now all LA has to do with the signing of Devontae Adams. Sure, you let Cooper Kupp go, but you got Devontae Adams. I'd say that's a slight step forward. All they got to do is just hang out and be a 500 team, because I don't feel like the other teams in the NFC West can be 500. Tommy Cananza saying, nah, he wouldn't use the number 12 draft pick to draft Hampton. He would rather use 44 to draft a running back. And I agree with you on that, right? The Dallas Cowboys also have 3 fifth-round draft picks this year, so maybe we're going to see some trades that happen to some other teams that are out there, right? Tommy also going on to say, we'll find out if Darnold really is the guy he showed us last year without all the weapons in Minnesota. I think he's somewhere in between. Right, and I know that sounds like a cop-out, guys, and I'm sorry for it, but I a long time ago, I took courses at UTEP, and one of them was called Positive Deviance, right? And the positive deviance thing, to me, really opened my eyes. And it showed me that we are neither the best thing that we've done in our life, and we are neither the worst thing that we've done in our life. We're all, as human beings, somewhere in the middle. Sam Darnold is not going to be Minnesota Sam Darnold is the best thing that he's done. He's not going to be New York Jets Sam Darnold as the worst thing he's done. He's going to be somewhere in the middle, and it'll be okay. But it won't be worth $100 million. And fan expectations are not going to be happy with just okay. Right? Like, that's where he's going to reside, is just in that middle of, oh, okay, well, we've got a guy that can bridge us to the next quarterback of the future whenever that comes out in the draft. And maybe in, 2 or 3 years, the next draft class will be absolutely stockpiled with quarterbacks. Or maybe we're just looking forward to next year, and maybe we get Arch Manning or any of these other guys that are out there, right? The Crooked Commish saying they are doing the quote-unquote all-in approach that Jerry Jones did last year. LOL. Hey. It ain't hard to go all in when this is all you're working with, buddy. All right? Don't be judging. Don't judge Jerry Jones. All in looks different to all kinds of people. Damn it, I almost got through that. I almost got through that without laughing. All in looks different to a whole bunch of different people. Jerry Jones went all in. It just wasn't impressive. It's like the Ocho Cinco thing with Stephen A. Smith, where he's like, she told me to go deeper, and I didn't have any more pee-pee. It's way too early in the morning for me to be making these types of references. I have to remember this stuff, guys. I'm kind of like an insomniac. I've basically been up since like 4:30 in the morning today. So it feels later in the day to me than it really actually is. I apologize. But yeah, if Ocho Cinco's saying he didn't have no more pee-pee, maybe Jerry Jones and maybe Seattle, maybe they just ain't got enough. All right? Don't judge them. They're doing the best they can with what they were given, damn it. And it also feels like it might just be me standing up for all the guys out there who are just constant disappointments. You don't know what it's like to live with this kind of pressure, guys. I have this voice. Think of the pressure that surrounds me all the time, that this is what I sound like. You must be amazing. I'm not. I'm just a man. I am only a man. I'm also known for setting the bar super low so I can exceed it. So have that in mind, you nerds. Tommy Cananza laughing. Thank you. I'm glad someone out there gets it. I think one of the cool compliments I got yesterday was I was watching TGI Sports. They follow the professional sports show on National Streaming Sports. Keith Engel was talking about it. We were talking about drinks and stuff like that. It was a strange way that show went. I said, could you imagine? And I love that this is my lane, and I'll peel back the curtain this one time. I'm not drinking all the time, guys. And just because I have bottles here that were full yesterday and aren't full now doesn't mean that I'm drunk at this exact moment. Do I partake in an adult beverage from time to time? Yes. Right? But it's not also like my whole gimmick is now apparently I'm drinking all the time. That's not always the case. But Keith is like, man, like, if you're drinking, like, that's where my filter goes out. I say, no, man. For me, I need to drink because my filter comes up. Can you imagine how unhinged I would be if I didn't drink? And he's like, no. You're hilarious. You do what the hell you do, which is the weird role of let's move sports knowledge, where I hope I sound at least somewhat informed to y'all, along with comedy, because it's a freaking game. We shouldn't take it so serious, guys. If you're one of the people that breaks your TV like 95% of Dallas Cowboys fans, that's dumb. It's a game. You have no impact on it. It should have no impact on your life. Move it on. That's going to be the next gimmick. Alcoholic Mike. I'm a tipaholic. Oh, the tipaholics. Maybe that's what we call the tippies from now on. The Dallas Cowboys are dropping welcome interviews with Solomon Thomas like he's some big free agent. SMH. Yeah. I got the alert that was like, hey, do you want to join the Dallas Cowboys? Because they won't give me a credential to be on the field, which after I watch the show and I listen back to the way I talk, I can understand now. But they always invite me to like the virtual press conferences and stuff like that, which is a cool thing for me because, again, the kid from Socorro, Texas doesn't get to experience the stuff that I get to experience. I realize how blessed I truly am in this stuff. But man, I'm watching these like things. It's like, oh yeah, we'll have the Solomon Thomas interviews at this time and like the press conference, and we can talk about this, that, and the other. They did the exact same thing with Brian Schottenheimer. If there was ever a coach in the world that didn't deserve to have an opening day press conference or an opening press conference to introduce themselves to the world, it was Brian Schottenheimer. I feel like the rest of the world could have gone on without hearing Brian Schottenheimer talk about his daddy. Although I do like Marty Schottenheimer, so maybe it's just me. Tommy Canasta saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with breaking stuff. One of my favorite songs from Limp Bizkit. Turn it on in the car, go 25 miles an hour, and then I go. I was thinking about that too, right? Like, I love my car. I love to be able to drive fast. Like, I like all of that stuff. And I kind of sit back and I watch as people get older, and I think to myself, is that going to be me? Am I going to be the guy that's so old that like I'm driving, right next to my windshield with both hands on the steering wheel, and I got my foot on my brake instead of close to the gas? I'm sounding like Mr. Magoo. Is that how I'm going to be when I get older? And I'm like, no. I think I'm going to be like the old guy. I think I already kind of like I have a foot in the pool in this lane here of I'm the old guy that everyone thinks is already going through a midlife crisis. They're like, oh, look at him. He's got a convertible and he's 95,000 years old. He's clearly going through a midlife crisis. Guys, I just like Mustangs. And I like the wind blowing through my bald. Jesus Christ, I'm an idiot. Adrian Zamudio saying good morning. Good morning to you, Adrian. Hope you're having a great day, my friend. Shout out to everyone that is tuned in over on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course on Roku via National Streaming Sports. A big shout out to our friends over at National Streaming Sports and all the amazing shows that they have going on right now. What running back surprised you the most between last year between J.K. Dobbins and Chuba Hubbard? Man, I think it's got to be J.K. Dobbins, right? Like everyone kind of had this dude written off. And yeah, I know he got hurt at the end of the year, and what a crappy way to go out. Chuba, you kind of saw like there was a little bit of stuff that you could say, okay, maybe we could build on this, right? But it felt like the whole time, especially being in Baltimore, like that J.K. Dobbins was snake bit, right? Like imagine if he could have been what he was last year with the Chargers, what he could have been in Baltimore with Lamar Jackson of all guys, right? Like, and how quickly it all seemed to just come together for him, like he's got the Harbaugh brothers, like those have been his only coaches. He was so good and so healthy, and then just at the end of the season, at the end of the season, it all came crashing down because, as Tommy said, it was a surprise that he was healthy. That was the big surprise, is that he was healthy, because we've never seen him healthy. Outside of, Ohio State, we've never seen him healthy. It feels like he's been in the league a decade or so. And I know that's not the case, but it always felt like, you could guarantee two things. The sun was going to rise on the first day of training camp, and on day 2, J.K. Dobbins was going to be out for an extended period of time. I remember thinking to myself, the first game of the season, holy hell, J.K. Dobbins, that's going to be your opening day running back? You got rid of Austin Eckler for J.K. Dobbins? Made so many jokes at that man's expense, and he had, for all intents and purposes, he had a great season for the LA Chargers. It just sucks that he got hurt again at the end of this season. I don't think he's played enough games for us to say that this is like one of those what-if guys in the NFL. Like, what if he had stayed healthy, right? Like, what if Luke Kuechly would have had a full 15-year career? Imagine the stats that guy would have had, right? The same thing with like Sean Lee or Leighton Vander Esch in Dallas on the defensive side. I think J.K. Dobbins kind of showed us, like, look, he can give you something. I just think that he can't be your number one back, right? Like he can't be the only back. You got to have someone out there to kind of help him. Do I think that Najee Harris is an upgrade for the Chargers? I do, just because you don't know what you're going to get out of J.K., right? Like that's going to be the issue. Najee has had some injuries, but it hasn't been at the level that J.K. Dobbins has. Now you can kind of, if J.K. is able to come back, I think it's going to be late at the end of the year, right? Like that's when he's going to be able to come back. Najee being there, I think that's a great pickup. I think it's such an underrated pickup. Pittsburgh is going to feel that. And I feel like other teams in the AFC West are going to feel that, because outside of Isaiah Pacheco, Najee Harris is already the best running back in the division, right? Like you don't trust Denver. I'm trying to remember who their running backs are, but all I have in my mind right now is Javonte Williams, because he's now a Dallas Cowboy, and he's going to be the starting quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard, I think that's going to be a fun pairing. If Carolina still keeps Chuba, are they going to keep Chuba? That would be the main thing, right? Tommy Cadanza saying that he picked up J.K. Dobbins late in fantasy and it worked out, or he drafted him rather late in fantasy and it worked out for him for most of the year. Yeah, I was able to pick him up, like I think it was week 3 in free agency, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to ride this till the wheels fall off. He was serviceable for me. I got to the playoffs. My team does what the Dallas Cowboys do, my fantasy team does, in the playoffs, and they just choke it all away. I've won fantasy football leagues before. Fantasy baseball is where I thrive, though. I've won, 4 out of the last 6 times I've played fantasy baseball. I've won, so I'm happy with that. Tommy Canazza thinks that Harris is an average running back. I think a lot of that had to do with when you have Russ, you always have the threat of the deep ball. One of the best deep ball passers in the history of the NFL, if not the best deep ball passer in the history of the NFL. I don't think you can have a great run game if you're going to be taking shots down the field all the time. And I think that's what kind of made Najee feel like he fell off a little bit, right? I've had him on my fantasy team in a dynasty league for about 3 years now, and the production always seems to stay the same. It was just the touches this year kind of fell off a little bit, but that's because you have to let Russ do what Russ does and spread out that offense as much as possible. I think having a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who's a lot better at checking the ball down whenever he gets in trouble, that's where you're going to see the value of Najee Harris really come in as a pass catcher and also coming out of the backfield as well. I really like the signing for the Chargers. I don't think it changes their fortune. I don't think it makes them the best team in the AFC West, but they're going to be that second or third place team in the AFC West. But he wasn't great the year before they signed. Well, that's because they had like Mason Rudolph as their quarterback. They had Kenny Pickett as their quarterback. No one succeeds with Kenny Pickett as their quarterback. Kenny Pickett and his tiny little itty bitty hands that can barely hold onto like a Big Mac. That's no one's gonna thrive with those guys at quarterback, man. That's like saying, oh, okay, well, the Chiefs weren't that good. Well, it's because Patrick Mahomes might have been hurt, right? Like there's so many other outside factors that are there. He was their number one back. You knew Kenny Pickett wasn't going to be a threat to throw the ball down the field. You knew Mason Rudolph wasn't going to be a threat to run down the field. So you stack up, you put 8 in the box. Now the only threat that they have on offense, which was Najee Harris, is neutralized. Genuinely, we're going to find out this year, right? And again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I really feel like Najee being with the Chargers, we're going to see a resurgence with him, and we're going to see the Chargers sustain. I don't think they're going to fall back. I think that they'll kind of sustain. Once again, they'll be a wild card team, and they'll be in the playoffs. I think they'll alternate between who's better between them and Denver as that number 2, number 3 team in the AFC West. Any quarterback can check down. No, they can't. We saw Trey Lance wasn't able to do it in the game that he played for the Cowboys. You remember that 4-yard pass that he only threw 1 yard to Rico Dowdle, who was wide open in the end zone? Not every quarterback can check down, my guy. That, as a matter of fact, that's one of Russell Wilson's big problems, is that he's a beautiful long ball passer, but he's not a great check down guy. The same thing with Aaron Rodgers. He's not a great check down guy. Not all of them could check down. Trey Lance, right there. That's your number one reason as to why guys aren't always good quarterbacks at checking down. Man. Okay. I want to thank you all so much for tuning into today's show. Hopefully we keep the conversation going on tomorrow. I didn't get to talk about my NFC West teams like I wanted to. We got stuck into NFL free agency. Remember, tomorrow, a TIP VIP Friday. You come with questions, I've got the answers for you. We'll see how it goes. All right. I want to give a shout out to everyone that tuned in today, especially on the various social media that are over here as well. I think this will be another Tommy, you were right moment, Mike. We've only had one of those. Crooked commissioning with Las Vegas trading for Geno. I wouldn't be surprised if Sanders drops a bit, maybe around the 10 to 14 range. Someone will trade up if he starts to fall. I agree with you on that one, my guy. I definitely do. All right, everybody, stay tuned for these words from a couple of our sponsors. Remember, support the people that support me, and we'll see you all tomorrow. But don't be fooled. Some sites are legal in some states only. Some sites pay in Bitcoin, and some sites have even been hacked. However, BetUS has been in business for over 30 years. They have future bets that are paying out in the thousands, and there's still time for you to bet on the Super Bowl, the National Championship, and even the NBA Championship. Just use the QR code right here, and it'll take you to the BetUS site. BetUS. Check it out and bet responsibly. Are you a fellow car guy? I have a 2008 Ford Mustang GT convertible, and nothing makes me happier in that car than when it's nice and clean. And you know who helps me get there? RevAutoCarCare.com. They help me get that pony looking as nice and shiny and ready for any of the car meetups that are all around the great city of El Paso. Spoil your car and go to RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton and view all the inventory they have and find out what works for you to help make your ride shine. RevAutoCarCare.com/Tipton. Use promo code Tipton33 at checkout to save 15%.